Hello, Arash Madani. You missed a heck of an interview with Gino Lewis. You ever interviewed Gino Lewis?
I have not. The boys told me about it before they brought me on, and they were fired up about it. So what stood out? What didn't stand out?
The shoots from the hip guy. I was saying, Harry and I, you interview more than us, but going back to our day when we did this for real, he's just one of those guys, just shot from the hip. Didn't hold anything back. Kind of called out Ed Hervey.
Here we go. Isn't honesty refreshing?
Harry, what did you say?
So
It's not cockiness. It was, how did you put it?
Self-awareness, self-assuredness, self-confidence, self-awareness.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I'll send it to you. You can go find it anywhere you listen to podcasts tonight. All right. There's nothing says Valentine's Day like sitting down and listening to a Barney interview later this evening. You know what? You're actually in San Francisco. NBA All-Star Weekend. Now, though I haven't been to San Fran. Actually, last time I was in San Fran, I stayed in San Jose. So what's it like there? What's the vibe there? Where is that new facility that Golden State plays out of? If you could put it in, like, I know where the baseball thing is, and then there's nothing for pro teams in Oakland anymore. So when you look across the bay there, what's just those cranes over there? Like, what's going on in that?
It's just down the street from the ballpark. It's a near $2 billion arena that has already been revitalized around it with condo developments and bars and restaurants. Like, it's got its own district, the Mission District. And it's actually very
Luke
close.
Luke would like it.
It's the theme of the day today.
I went right over my head.
Check out the Luke Mullender interview later when you got a sec, Arash. It's right off the top. You wouldn't miss it.
University, California, San Francisco is right there, but it's a brand new building. But it's amazing, guys. Like, I was down here in 2019 when the Raptors won it all, and I was here a couple of years later doing Jays. And over in Oakland, the ballpark / football stadium and the basketball arena were attached by a bridge.
Yep.
Now, if you're watching on the stream, you can see that they're almost side by side with a huge parking lot. So they went from having a Major League Baseball team and a football team and an NBA franchise, and now they have nothing. And that's all happened in the last 5-6 years. It's crazy how quickly it can all go.
Like, Oakland's one of those places, and not to get political and all that, but California, they say, is it's an interesting state. I'll leave it at that. Like, you would have think Oakland would have bent over backwards to do whatever it took to keep NFL football there, if they could, and NBA basketball. And now it's kaput. It's that train ride that goes to Berkeley. Don't get off.
Yeah, and I was following it pretty closely with the Oakland A's thing when I was covering baseball. But the thing with these franchises is that they can hold cities, counties, sometimes states hostage for tax money. Like, they were looking for something like 650 acres of free land, and for the city of Oakland, the county of Alameda, to pay the bulk of the $3 billion for a brand new stadium, and on and on and on. And here's my thing on this. I believe that it's really important for communities, cities, provinces, states, whatever, to have pro sports. It is a community gathering place. It's something that provides civic pride. It brings people together, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm all for tax money going towards it. I really am. Except if you're going to take hundreds of millions of dollars, it should not cost you $600-700 just to get into the building. It should not cost you $9 for a bottle of water, $22 for a tall can of beer, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Don't price out the same people who have actually built you this brand new sparkling facility. But unfortunately, we live in a world where it's never enough. And billionaires just want to make more, and the greed factor takes over.
Canseco, Henderson, Maguire. Man, that place used to pump. So
Dennis Eckersley, the closer, remember?
How did I forget Eckersley? Corey Sarich was talking about Crown Vics. Guaranteed he owned one.
Shifting gears to why you're there, NBA All-Star Weekend. Steph Curry, the mayor of San Francisco, that area still.
He really is, guys. It's like you can't go a few blocks around here without his face being splashed all over the place. And it's wild, like I've been coming here now for, 15, 16 years. When we were first coming down here, it was for San Francisco baseball. The Giants won, I think it was like 2 or 3 World Series, and, Madison Bumgarner and Buster Posey and all those guys. And then in 2016, I was here when the Sharks made their Stanley Cup run. They ended up losing to Crosby and the Penguins. The Niners continue to knock on the door. But this is Steph Curry's town. Now, this is what's interesting, fellas. Our boy Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of Hamilton, Ontario, is getting his own shoe. So Converse is unveiling a brand new shoe for Shai. And they're doing it just a couple of blocks from our hotel downtown. There are so many SGA billboards, buses decorated with his name and face all over them with his new Converse shoe. He is very quickly, he's on the cover of Slam magazine. He's on the cover of Slam Style because of his fits. He is very quickly becoming one of the faces of the NBA. It's amazing to see what's happening here with a Canadian guy, who is going to be the MVP of the NBA this year.
It'd be cool. It'd be cool if they put him on the cover of a video game.
Count of 3.
Yeah.
Like double dribble.
Probably next. Not double dribble, but it's probably next. Like he checks every single box you would want for face of a franchise and face of a league.
I talked about, and when we had Corey Sarich on just a little while ago, All-Star. How do we ever go back to an All-Star game in hockey after watching this best on best international stuff? All-Star games, like the baseball one is in the middle of summer, usually nothing else going on, and I opt for gardening. Like it's unbelievable. Hockey, basketball, weird. Pro Bowl's turned into a flag football thing. I don't know. Like, what do we do? What happens with All-Star games? I guess there's money. Well, there's revenue generated from them.
It's not just that. This is the kind of gathering for every league of all the major sponsors of leagues gather for All-Star Game. Is the ultimate hosting hospitality weekend for sponsors, partners, the league, etc. Like Converse has taken over. I'm talking about the Shea thing. I just walked by it the other day. Like just this massive warehouse in downtown San Francisco. Like cost is no object. And you think back to what the All-Star Game represented back in the day and why it had appeal. It was because we could never see these athletes play before, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're of a certain vintage, in the 70s and 80s, we could never see Tony Gwynn or Mike Schmidt or any of these players because we were, quote unquote, stuck watching the Expos and the Jays. Now at our fingertips, we can watch whatever we want. So the allure of watching any of these guys it's not a novelty anymore. It's just a way of life.
In Saskatchewan, Harry knows this. We had Detroit cable, so we got to watch a lot of Sparky Anderson and the Bernie Smilovitz and Melfar Superstar commercials from that. And Harry, before you go, that's 3 Converse mentions. Did they give you like some sort of sweatpants suit or something? You get some sort of plug? Okay, go ahead, Harry. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, just to follow up on that. I mean, if it's essentially become like a trade show, like why do they? It's amazing that they still expect fans to care. Like I don't care. I don't care that it's a sponsorship weekend. Like, stop making me try to care about it.
Yeah, it's interesting what's going to happen with the hockey thing, because I don't like the Four Nations works today this year because they haven't done it in 9 years. a best on best. But now they've already, so next year we know that they're going to play the Olympics. That's 26. And then in 28, they've already announced the World Cup. So part of the allure of a tournament like this is the players actually care. You can see how much it means to them. But you can't have too much of it or then it gets diluted. And then the question, like, everybody wants to play, but if you do it every year, then it's like, okay, it just turns into, it loses the appeal that it had. So I'm interested to see what hockey's going to do.
And then the other side of that coin, it's funny because it's the exact opposite of what the purpose is now. So you have best on best. All it's going to take is somebody breaking a leg, being out for the season and costing his owner and team. It's the same concern they had with the Olympics when they first instituted it. Is like, what if somebody gets hurt? The thing about an all-star game is nobody's going to get hurt unless it's a freak accident because they're not full contact. They're not giving it all. You go best on best and Sidney Crosby or Nathan McKinnon breaks his arm in Colorado, like the owners are going to revolt again because it's taking money out of their pockets. So it's like the exact opposite of what they have now.
I hear you, except a few things. One, a player they have a better chance of getting injured in the weight room. They have a better chance of getting injured at practice. John Tavares broke his leg in practice in Sochi, not in a game. Yeah. So, like, things happen, and that's why the whole insurance piece is so contentious when it comes to these things.
Here's a weird one, and this would never happen, but if this was a video game, you get the football players for their all-star game to play basketball. You get the basketball players to play football. Now I'm intrigued. Now there's something to watch. Yeah, no.
I would tell you, the football players would love to play basketball.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the basketball players would like to play football.
To do like all three. Oh, throw soccer in there. Just get all the players. Who's the real best athlete? Who can really play? Who's good on skates? Get some racket sports in there. Get it all. Sorry, Harry.
It's like when they used to do the Battle of the Stars, where they gather them all to the beach and they'd make Gretzky and Hakeem Olajuwon and all of them do like beach volleyball or sandbag toss or whatever. They bring all the athletes from all the sports to give them 100%. Something that's totally out of their wheelhouse.
100%.
Big sandbag toss guy. Let's. Where do we want to go?
I bet you are, Barney. I bet you are.
Free agency and the CFL free agency. Kenny Lawler got his money. Gino Lewis, we just found out he took a little less to go to Ottawa. Anything on your end? An interesting one, a head scratcher, something that flew under the radar?
I like Royce Metchie going to Edmonton. Here you have a veteran Canadian safety who can play halfback, corner, and safety. He's very versatile. He can move all over the field for you. He obviously knows the Canadian game. He is a ball hawk. I thought it was a mistake for Toronto not to reach out a little more. Here's a guy who went to the University of Guelph, is from Southern Ontario. I know the Argos don't like going down there. They think that they can just find anybody to play that position. To me, a Canadian who's able to be that versatile and that impactful, to me, that's important. The other one today, and I really like this move by the Tiger Cats, was Casey Sales. I know he's an American defensive lineman, but here's a guy who's durable. I think he played 17 games last year, led Hamilton in sacks last year, has been around the league a little bit. He's been an all CFL player. Like, these are the things that you need in your roster construction to make sure it's not as sexy as a Gino Lewis or a Kenny Lawler, but those are the kinds of players that if you can, as we just saw in the Super Bowl, if you can have your defensive line shored up, that can make a big impact.
Switching gears to the old pitchers and catchers have reported. Arash, are you excited?
Barney's excited.
Absolutely. What's fantasy baseball in 6 leagues?
What's the story with Vladdy Guerrero and his social media? What's he building to there?
So, do we have for those watching on the stream, do we have the Insta stories, guys? If we can roll them, if we do. So, Vladdy, starting yesterday, had posted a photo of him in the gym with the number 4 on it. And then today was a photo of the batting cage, and he had the number 3 on it. Vladimir Guerrero is now 3 days away from reporting to Blue Jays camp. And he has set a deadline that if you do not give me a contract, if we do not agree to terms on a contract extension by the time I report to camp, the countdown is on now. We are not going to negotiate in the season, and I am going to free agency. He has explicitly said that. So here you have a franchise that has Guerrero and Bichette up at the end of this year, that has a diminishing asset in George Springer, that just signed 42-year-old Max Scherzer this offseason. They added Anthony Santander. But the face of this entire thing is Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And Vlad is now letting them know, if this doesn't happen, I'm not going to do it. And the fact that he's been this, I don't know what's the right term, open about it, with this countdown clock. Wow. Yeah. I don't quite remember anything like that.
Not
interesting. Yeah.
I don't think it's a bad look.
We are up against it, boys. We will regroup next week. I want you and Maz to go 45 minutes deep Tuesday and Thursday on baseball.
You're off next week, so that's when we're going to talk baseball. Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Colson's throwing stuff at me. Okay, Rash, have a good weekend, buddy. Long weekend.
You too. See you guys.
Have fun at the All-Star game.